Greetings to all of you. In order for a child to participate fully in the society, he or she must learn to read. Administrators and teachers must therefore underscore this matter by equipping themselves with knowledge, skills, and abilities in teaching reading. Abstract. This study was conducted to determine the instructional capabilities of the 14 teachers of Dodan Elementary School in teaching reading using the descriptive quantitative design. Results showed that their mean age is 36.21 years, dominated by females. Majority are married and young in the service and gave priority to their professional growth in spite that the training attended is a district level only. In the teacher's level of practices, there is a significant relationship between the level of efficacy and their profile variables except for their present position and relevant trainings. All other profile variables except for training are significantly related to their level of efficacy. On the level of practices, there is a significant difference on the assessment of the school head and teachers themselves, while on the level of efficacy, there is no significant difference. These findings implied that a rigid technical assistance in teaching reading be given to teachers. Introduction of the research. When many children don't learn to read, the schools cannot and will not be regarded as successful. Hence, low reading achievement, more than any other factor, is the root cause of chronically low-performing schools. With the 77 pupils in the frustration level, our school is facing a great challenge in reading, and my question is why? What could be the reasons that this happened? Therefore, to address the problem, I must first find out the instructional capabilities of teachers in teaching reading in order to optimize reading achievement. It is in this milieu that the researcher proposed this study. Methodology. Since this study generally aimed to assess the level of instructional capabilities of Dodan ES teachers in teaching reading, the following questions on profile variables, level of instructional capabilities in teaching reading, the significant relationship between the profile variables and the level of instructional capabilities of teachers in teaching reading, and the significant difference between the assessment of school head and the teachers themselves must be answered, then later on, design an enhancement program. With this, the descriptive quantitative method of research was used. Discussion of results and recommendations. For the frequency and percentage distribution of teachers as to their profile variables, results showed that their mean age is 36.21 years, dominated by females. Majority are married and young in the service and gave priority to their professional growth on their effectiveness and efficiency in spite that the training attended is at district level. Assessment on the level of practices and efficacy in early language literacy of teachers as assessed by themselves and by the school head. The overall assessment of the teachers and the school head on the level of practices is a great deal and quite a bit respectively, and both assessed agree on the level of efficacy. Relationship between the level of practices in early language literacy and level of efficacy of teachers and their profile variables. In the teacher's level of instructional capabilities along level of practices, there is a significant relationship between it and their profile variables except for their present position and relevant trainings, as evidenced by the computed value of negative 0.077 and negative 0.018 respectively. As to level of efficacy, all other profile variables except for training are significantly related as evidenced by the generated result of negative 0.0277. Difference between the assessment of the teachers and the school head on the level of practices in early language literacy and level of efficacy of teachers. On the level of practices, there is a significant difference on the assessment of the school head and teachers themselves, as revealed by the paired sample t-test analysis with the computed t-value of 12.903 and the corresponding probability value of 5.13. On the other hand, there is no significant difference on the level of efficacy. Paired sample t-test analysis reveals that the computed t-value is 6.0256 with a corresponding probability value of 6.84886. Since the p-value computed is higher than 5%, the null hypothesis is accepted. Conclusions and recommendations. Teachers should realize that struggling with vital reading skills is not a sign of low intelligence. Many successful people have experienced this struggle with reading, but when they were properly taught, most of them learned to read easily and quickly. With the findings of the study, a rigid technical assistance on teaching reading, which may be in the form of sharing information and expertise, instruction, skills training, or transmission of working knowledge, should be given to teachers to strengthen their skills and competencies in order to improve the reading abilities of pupils and to likewise address achievement gap in the short term and be eventually eliminated. A parallel study may be conducted to look into the competencies using all the teachers in the district. Thank you for listening.